Somebody that would, if people know who Mike Benz is, Benz, he was on Tucker like a month ago. He's been all over. He's somebody to go listen to understand how what they've changed where we used to be this each individual democracy, an individual democracy. Now, in 2016, they switched it, the socialists, the globalists, the institutions, to it being institutional democracy. That's why I mentioned Magnet of Nursing, and because that's about shared governance, institutional democracy. But I'm going to show you how far they're going, okay? I mean, it's embarrassing. But most people wouldn't pick up on it. But I said how socialists, they change traditions, okay? So they're right now, the globalists, all the nursing associations at the top, the journals are just really hitting home the nursing schools, because they'll be done with the nurses that recognize what they're doing. They want the new ones coming out. So they want them trained differently. Yeah, I'm going to show you in a minute. So that's what socialists do. They destroy tradition. They destroy everything. They turn everything into that we're no longer each individual a democracy. That's, we're really a republic. But they switch it to where you're not even, an individual in your own right, because now you're part of this shared collective. Yeah. And Mike Benz is good to listen to, because he said it ultimately it all goes back to the Department of Defense, the State Department, but Department of Defense, because that's where the science stuff. I mean, he said science created the internet. They created the cell phone. These were all things to be used in military wars. But they've just been, yep, let's do it. So because they wanted the internet was a great way, and your cell phones, for them to track how people populate together. So, and then what they do is they get the institutions involved. And obviously, that's why the universities are never patriotic. I mean, they never have been, not in my adult life. Not for America's values. They're always for the socialist or communist values. It's a disease that's in the universities, unfortunately. And it's in nursing, well, they're changing it all around. This was 2022. Transforming Nursing Education in Response to the Future of Nursing 2020 to 2030 report. The Future of Nursing 2030, Charting a Path to Achieve Health Equity. Report provides a comprehensive plan to improve the quality of healthcare, and candidly acknowledge historical and contemporary issues that have stalled previous efforts to dismantle healthcare disparities. It's very sad that the very same people that have been the problem, which is the nursing professional organizations, and they're tied to the credentialing board, and it's all part of the swamp, never acknowledge how they're the failures. This article spotlights the role that nursing education, nursing leaders, and faculty play in enabling all people to achieve their highest level of health. Any nurse that's been around, you've heard that, this is what I mean by gobbledygook. They just write all this stuff. It just doesn't mean, we know. They write all this stuff, and a lot of times it doesn't say anything. But you'll see where it really is saying something. I mean, because they've said this stuff forever, okay? Is there any nurse leader or educator that doesn't know that? Through the framework of the 4 pillars, 1, reconciling the shortage of nurses with expertise in public health and health equity. That's not going to help, because the very people that have been failing and making the nursing shortage worse, and there really isn't a nursing shortage, there isn't. It's a game. This is what socialists do. I've explained it in other videos. They're just working with the money changers, let's say. if after 100 years your professional organization hasn't been able, the nursing shortage gets worse, then maybe you should look at yourself and see how you guys are the failure. But that'll never happen. 2, creating policies that include not only admission and progression policies, but all policies within nursing schools should be examined and revisioned to support a shared understanding of equity measures to address the effects of systemic racism and other types of oppression. I guess they don't understand how trafficking is slavery. So all they want to do is look at the past and blame America, we're racist, and that's what all this is about, is creating division. Again, socialists don't have insight. But it really, if they wanted to address oppression, they might want to mention the pandemic of trafficking. But again, they can't do that because they're aligned with the 2030 agenda with the World Health Organization, which means you have to support open borders. This process must include a thoughtful and skillful understanding of how categories of data are created and of their effects on findings. For example, clustering all Asian students into one ethnic group often skews results and perpetuates the myth of a monolithic Asian culture. So this is racist right here. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, they're just outright racist. While they try to wrap it around, that we're being diverse. No, you're just being racist and you're being controlling. And then it goes on to say, economically disadvantaged students have access to technology and can engage in virtual learning effectively. The Census Bureau's suite of racial equity data tools may prove useful in these endeavors. Faculty diversity remains an additional key element of recruitment and retention of a diverse student body. Consequently, schools must also prioritize recruitment and retention of unrepresented faculty. This is so racist. Like, they don't see how they are still racist. Just because you reverse the racism doesn't mean you're not racist. They prove in every time they try to write about this stuff, they show how uninsightful they are. As national nursing organizations convene to create a shared agenda, nursing schools should ensure that students are involved in this process. Of course, they want you involved. This time of transformation, provides an ideal teachable moment that nursing schools can use to their advantage by connecting students with local, state, and national nursing organizations through virtual internships and other immersive. So this is just because, again, it's all about the collective. The more, the better. Keep you manipulated. That's why they're all into the higher education. That's another reason people should look up Mike Benz, because he explains how that higher education stuff, it is used as a tool. To redress the historical impacts of structural racism and bias. They can't even recognize how racist this paper is, but all their papers are like this. It's an embarrassment, really, when we have oppression currently going on because this very organization and all their journals support open borders. Like, they shouldn't even be talking about racism when they can't even recognize it in themselves. To redress the historical impacts of structural racism and bias, academic nursing programs can offer incentives that prioritize the enrollment and success of underrepresented groups to attract it. Do you see how, just let people apply, whoever it is. No, now they want to reverse the racism and then say that's somehow being fair. This is what experts at the top of my profession, this stuff is... But it gets more ludicrous as time goes on. And then the pillars. School leaders must center policies around the tenets of diversity, anti-racism, and well-being. You know what? If you don't want to become a racist, then you really shouldn't follow the advice from the very people that ignore the current oppression that they are really passively supporting by supporting open borders. Trafficking.